good? Matt Clark here at the new Matt Clark. How are each and every one of you doing on this amazing Monday? I'm doing great. My girl's doing great. My family's doing great. I hope each and every one of you are doing great. Going through what we're going through. You know, everybody's just kind of going through. If you could please hit that like button, that subscribe button, and that bell notification button to get all my videos when they're new. If you could share with somebody on social media, help spread the message, help spread the word, that would be amazing. And there's a PayPal option if you'd like to donate, help support the channel. The link is in the description of all of my videos. So today, we're going to talk about Warkwarth Penitentiary. I know I haven't talked about it yet, somewhere I haven't been, but I do have some knowledge on Warkwarth. I've heard lots of stories about Warkwarth over the years. So today, we're going to do Warkwarth, okay? So Warkwarth is a medium security penitentiary, a single tier pen. No low medium, no high medium, just medium security penitentiary. And it's a big penitentiary that holds 670 guys. It was opened in 1967, but originally the construction started in 1965. And people moved in, like 6 or something inmates moved in from Joyceville in 1967. It was built on 208 acres of property, which is basically a massive compound. This is out in Warkwarth, Ontario, which is part of Trent Hills. So basically it's like before you get to Trenton, close to Peterborough, Campbellford, all those areas, that is where you're going to go if you're going to Warkwarth Penitentiary. Now I'm going to keep it trill with you guys. 10, 12 years ago, if you were in Warkwarth Penitentiary, you could not go to J Unit Penitentiary. And if you were there, it was considered a PC joint. Obviously, the penitentiaries were integrated at that time, but you weren't going to Warkwarth and you weren't going to Bath unless you had protective custody concerns for the most part, because you would not be able to go to max. You just wouldn't. And nobody wants to put themselves in that situation, right? Nobody does, because, you know, they just don't. So nobody wants to have this stigma labeled on them like they're in a bad joint. But things have changed recently because of the shutdown of Joyceville Penitentiary and just turned into reception, and because of the shutdown of Kingston Penitentiary, they've had to change it up. They've had to switch it up a little bit. And because of the rise in gang issues in Toronto, they've had to have penitentiaries where they could split these different gangs up so they don't have constant fights, constant beef in jails. And they just separate guys depending on their neighborhoods. If you're from this neighborhood, you go to this jail. If you're from this neighborhood, you go to this jail. And if you're from this neighborhood or this neighborhood or this neighborhood, you're going to go to this jail. And that's just the way it works. STG has set it up that way. That's the way the federal system is designed now. So Warkwarth Penitentiary is no longer considered a no good joint. Now, Warkwarth Penitentiary had this riot. And this was back when it was considered no good. And I'm telling you, when the tobacco went out in the penitentiary system, they were the only penitentiary that stood up for it. They were the only penitentiary that decided to riot, and riot they did. They went down to the yard, they smashed up, they broke through the wall and got into the prison infirmary or whatever, where they keep the medication. They stole jars of methadone, gabapentin, morphine, and whatever else that was narcotic they could get their hands on. And 13 people overdosed, and I think 2 people died, 1 person for sure in that situation. And just think about that. Just think about you're in the penitentiary, you're down at yard. You have no idea what's going on. You're just a regular dude. You're just chilling, okay? All of a sudden, the whole prison just goes off. Everybody starts smashing stuff. And you're nervous. You don't know what's going on. You don't know what to do. So you don't engage. You don't get involved. What happens then? People see you as weak and you become a target. Now, I don't know if any of that happened in that riot specifically, but that is always a risk. So what they tell you, when you come through the system, the OGs, the guys that have been around for a long time, if you're not that into it, Just do minimal, play your role, do what you gotta do. As long as you don't show your face and you don't show anything that can incriminate you specifically as somebody who instigated, you're gonna be all right. You're probably gonna like a minor charge or a misconduct or something like that. No street charge. You gotta do what you gotta do. You gotta preserve your own life. So don't put yourself out there and be scared and not get involved. You have to get involved. And I don't care what they tell you. If you're going through orientation, when you're going through reception, you have to get involved. That is your life. If you don't, you're putting your life on the line. Now I'm going to tell you about another story that happened at Warkwarth Penitentiary. And this story happened just recently. This was January 16th, 2020, okay? Picture this. Everybody's on the block. Everybody's doing their thing. Coppers are going around doing walks because sometimes they go around like maybe every hour, every 45. I don't know exactly how often it is, but they do walks basically to make sure that nobody's smashed out, nobody's doped up, overdosing, and people are alive. And basically, they try to account for people. Now, in most cases, the feds don't pay that much attention. Okay, they just kind of walk by, beep, walk by, beep. Walk by, beep, and they just keep it moving. But every now and then, you got a super copper that wants to just impose his will on the inmates. The punishment is being in prison. It's not some copper making your life as miserable as possible and just gunning you down every chance he gets. This copper looks in. I guess they didn't respond. He asked them to do something, was from what I got. They didn't respond, or the guy didn't respond. So he now goes into the cell. He thinks contraband or something is being destroyed, and he gets himself involved physically. No backup, nobody there. Guess what happens? He gets pulled into the cell, and he gets his face smashed in. And not only does he get his face smashed in, as he's getting smashed and trying to run out, he's getting pulled back in. And everybody on the block is chanting, yeah! It even happens if you see two guys scrapping, inmate on inmate, somebody getting severely hurt. Doesn't matter. There's always guys cheering. There's always cheerleading the fights, for sure, in prison. And it doesn't matter if it's a Fed. This is the game. And this is even to somebody who wants to go to be a CO. Don't think that you're just 100% safe. Sure, you get a good salary. It's a government job. You're going to get benefits. And chances are, in most cases, you're going to have the backup of your squad. But you do have to do walks every time. And when you do a walk, you're by yourself. Sometimes somebody's standing at the door. Other than that, though, you're by yourself. So when you walk through everybody, if you're somebody who disrespects people, goes out of your way to make people's life a living hell, guess what can happen? I've seen guys like literally flex on guards and run them right off the block for being disrespectful. It can happen. Just saying. You treat people like a human. If you're a CO, chances are these things aren't going to happen to you. I guarantee you this wasn't just some random thing. This guy just happened to be, oh, look what I see. And he gets beat like that. I bet you this is a habit of behavior. He makes people's life a living. And that doesn't mean it's right. I'm not justifying anything. I'm just saying that's most likely what's going on because it is a game. It is a battle. It's cops and robbers. Whether it's a CO, a police officer, that's what they do. They spend their day trying to catch you doing things, and you spend your day trying to get away with things, no matter how minor it is. Whether it's baking brownies and selling them on the compound, whether it's selling contraband, doesn't matter what it is. That's the game. And every now and then, it'll cross paths, an inmate will have enough, and they'll smash a CO, or vice versa. Warkwarth Penitentiary. It's a penitentiary, and it's one of the true old school penitentiaries left. Most of these new penitentiaries have all these new ranges built that are more lower security and just way more modern, but concrete and just lifeless. And I know all prisons are pretty lifeless, but a lot of the time you live better in those old style penitentiaries. Chances are you're going to have a single cell. It's just better living, and guys would prefer to be there. And Warkwarth is one of the only jails standing. Obviously, I share my stories with you guys so you guys don't have to go through these things yourselves. If I could snap my fingers, nobody goes to Warkwarth again. Nobody goes to the Bay. Nobody goes to reception in the Ville. Nobody goes anywhere. That's what I would do, but that's not a reality, especially in 2021. It's hard out here, man. And sometimes you got to do what you got to do, and sometimes that can land you in prison. Hopefully, by sharing my videos with you guys can at least get enough information that if you do end up in there, you can kind of move right and keep yourself safe. And hopefully I get the information to you before that and you just decide that it's not worth it, because it's not worth it. Listen to these stories. You want to live like that? You want to be on a block where that happens, where you can get swallowed up into some charges? People expect you to get involved. You got to get involved. That's life. That is prison. I'm not trying to sugarcoat anything. I want people to understand the risks to everybody that goes into prison, whether it's a staff member, whether it's a nurse, whether it's an inmate, or whether it's a convict. Anybody can get it. Anybody can get it unexpectedly, and anything can happen. That is prison. If you could please hit that like button, if you could please hit that subscribe button and that bell notification button to get all my videos when they're new. If you could share with somebody on social media, help spread the message, help spread the word, that'd be amazing. And there's a PayPal option if you'd like to donate, help support the channel. The link is in the description of all of my videos. I'd say that Warkwarth is an old school standing penitentiary, meaning it's an old building, it's the old setup. Chances are you're going to be in a single cell, and that's prime right now because they're trying to take all that away. I remember when I got to the Ville, everybody was in a single cell. People could work in the metal shop and make decent enough money that they could walk out with some money, they could learn a trade, and they could have canteen the whole time they're inside. And now things are different. All these things are being stripped away. And day by day by day by day by day, it becomes less and less worth it to be in prison. It's never worth it to give up your freedom for anything, because who knows what you can accomplish out here. But I'm telling you, year by year by year, it just gets worse. This is not worth it, whether Warkwarth, Joyceville, or the Bay. You don't want to go to prison. Take it from me. I spent half of my life there. It's not fun. It's not good energy, absorbing all that bitterness and sadness and trauma and resentment and anger and violence. Absorbing all of that into you all the time can just really make you a jaded human, and day by day make it more difficult to get out of that. Love each and every one of you. The new Matt Clark.